The email arrived on a Tuesday morning, buried between a credit card offer and a newsletter I'd forgotten to unsubscribe from. The subject line was deceptively casual. Wedding update. But the message inside felt like a punch to the gut. Dad, change of plans. We've decided to keep the wedding really small. Just immediate family. You can watch the live stream though. Link attached. Hope you understand. According to YouTube analytics, 99.5% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Emma. I read it 3 times, each pass making my chest tighter. 27 years of being her father, and I was being relegated to a live stream viewer, like a distant relative, like someone who didn't matter. My hands shook as I reached for my phone to call her, but then I stopped. Emma never did anything without reason. My daughter was methodical, thoughtful, traits she'd inherited from me, ironically enough. If she was cutting me out of her wedding, someone had convinced her to do it, and I had a pretty good idea who. Claire, my ex-wife, Emma's mother, the woman who'd spent the last 5 years since our divorce, poisoning our daughter against me with carefully crafted lies and selective memories. I sat back in my home office chair, the email still glowing on my laptop screen. The wedding was in 3 weeks. 3 weeks to figure out what Claire had told Emma, and 3 weeks to decide what I was going to do about it. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was a crisis management consultant. I helped Fortune 500 companies navigate their worst scandals and public relations disasters. I specialized in turning the tables when someone was being unfairly attacked. Yet here I was, blindsided by my own family drama. I picked up my phone and called my brother Mike. She uninvited you? Mike's voice was incredulous. From her own wedding? Via email, I said, staring out my window at the oak tree Emma used to climb as a child. Very professional. Even included a live stream link. Jesus, David, what are you going to do? That was the question, wasn't it? What was I going to do? I spent the next hour scrolling through Emma's social media accounts, looking for clues. Her Instagram was full of wedding planning posts, venue photos, dress fittings, cake tastings. In every single photo, Claire was right there beside her, playing the role of supportive mother. But as I looked closer, I noticed something else. Claire wasn't just attending these events. She was orchestrating them. Every vendor, every decision, every detail had Claire's fingerprints on it, including, I realized, the choice of wedding venue, the Riverside Country Club, the same place where Claire and I had gotten married 28 years ago, the same place where we'd renewed our vows on our 10th anniversary, the same place Claire had always sworn she'd never set foot in again after our divorce, claiming it held too many painful memories. Now she was hosting our daughter's wedding there. A plan began to form in my mind. It was risky, potentially explosive, but then again, Claire had already lit the fuse. She wanted to rewrite history, to erase my role in Emma's life. Fine, but I wasn't going down without a fight. I opened my laptop and began making calls. The first call was to my old friend Jerry, who happened to be the current president of Riverside Country Club. We'd played golf together for years, back when I was married to Claire and could afford the membership fees. David, how the hell are you? I heard Emma's getting married here next month. You must be so proud. Actually, Jerry, that's why I'm calling. I need a favor. The second call was to my assistant, Rebecca. Cancel everything for the next 2 weeks, I told her. I'm working on a special project. The third call was to a private investigator named Susan Walsh, someone I'd used for corporate cases. I need you to dig up everything you can on my ex-wife's finances over the past year. Bank records, credit cards, investment accounts, everything. David, you know I have to ask, This isn't for anything illegal, is it? Just fact-finding, I assured her. I have a feeling someone's been playing fast and loose with the truth, and I need ammunition. Over the next 10 days, the pieces fell into place like dominoes. Susan's investigation revealed that Claire had been living well beyond her means since our divorce. The modest alimony I paid her wasn't nearly enough to cover her new lifestyle. The luxury apartment, the designer clothes, the expensive dinners at trendy restaurants. She'd been funding it all with credit cards and loans, accumulating debt at an alarming rate. More interesting was how she was paying for Emma's wedding. The venue deposit, the catering, the flowers, the photographer. It was all going on credit cards. Cards that were already nearly maxed out. Claire was going into serious debt to throw Emma a lavish wedding, and she'd convinced our daughter that I had refused to contribute financially. But the real bombshell came from Jerry at the country club. "You know, it's funny you called," he said when we met for coffee. "Claire came in last week asking about payment plans for the wedding. Seems she's having some cash flow issues. She actually asked if we'd consider accepting partial payment now and the rest after the wedding." "What did you tell her?" "I told her we'd need a guarantor for the balance. Someone with established credit to co-sign." Jerry paused. "She mentioned she might ask you." I nearly choked on my coffee. "She what?" "Said you might be willing to help out for Emma's sake." I thought it was a little odd, considering. He gestured vaguely, acknowledging the divorce. So that was Claire's endgame. Cut me out of the wedding emotionally, but still expect me to pay for it financially. It was breathtakingly audacious, even for her. I spent the next few days crafting my response. It had to be perfect, surgical in its precision, devastating in its impact. I'd learned over the years that the most effective revenge isn't hot and explosive, it's cold and calculated. It's revealing the truth at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right way. The wedding was on a Saturday afternoon. I woke up that morning feeling strangely calm. I put on my best suit, the same Tom Ford I'd worn to Emma's high school graduation. I'd always imagined I'd wear it to walk her down the aisle someday. At 2:30 p.m., 30 minutes before the ceremony was scheduled to begin, I arrived at Riverside Country Club. The parking lot was full of cars I recognized. Emma's friends, my former in-laws, colleagues from Claire's work. I parked near the back and sat in my car for a moment, watching the guests stream into the clubhouse. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see people milling around in the main ballroom, the same room where Claire and I had danced to The Way You Look Tonight all those years ago. I pulled out my phone and opened the livestream link Emma had sent me. The camera was positioned at the back of the room, giving a perfect view of the altar where Emma would soon be standing with Marcus, her fiancé. He seemed like a good kid, an engineer, steady and reliable. The kind of man I'd hoped Emma would find. At exactly 3 p.m., I walked into the country club. The staff member at the front desk recognized me immediately. "Mr. Morrison, how wonderful to see you. Are you here for the wedding?" "Actually, yes, I'm Emma's father." Her face brightened. "Oh, wonderful. Let me show you to your seat." "That's very kind, but I'm not staying for the ceremony. I just need to speak with Jerry Westbrook for a moment. Club business." She looked confused but pointed me toward Jerry's office. I could hear the string quartet beginning to play in the ballroom as I walked down the familiar hallway lined with golf tournament photos and member plaques. Jerry was in his office, as I'd expected. We'd arranged this timing carefully. "David, you came after all." "Just for a moment." I handed him an envelope. "This is what we discussed." He opened it and scanned the contents, his eyebrows rising. "You're sure about this?" "Absolutely sure." "The timing is perfect," I finished. "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." I could hear the wedding march beginning as I left Jerry's office. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of Emma in her dress, my beautiful daughter, radiant and smiling, walking down the aisle alone. Claire had probably convinced her that it was more modern and independent to walk herself down the aisle rather than acknowledge that her father wasn't there to do it. I slipped out the side entrance and drove home. At 4:15 p.m., I opened my laptop and watched the live stream as the ceremony concluded. Emma and Marcus looked happy, and that was what mattered most. Whatever else happened, they deserved this moment. At 4:45 p.m., as the cocktail hour was beginning, my phone started ringing. The first call was from Claire. I let it go to voicemail. The second was from Emma. I let that one go too. The third was from my brother Mike. I answered that one. "David, what the hell did you do?" "I told the truth," I said simply. "Emma just called me crying. She's asking where you are, why you're not at her wedding." "And what did you tell her?" "I told her to call you directly. But David, there are rumors flying around that reception. People are saying Claire can't pay for the wedding, that the country club is threatening to shut it down." I smiled grimly. Not rumors. What I'd given Jerry was simple: a formal notice that I would not be providing any financial guarantees for Claire Morrison's debt to Riverside Country Club, along with a complete financial disclosure showing that Claire had been representing herself as having my backing for months, while simultaneously telling Emma that I had refused to contribute to the wedding. The country club's policy was clear. If they couldn't secure payment, they had the right to suspend services. And Claire, having maxed out her credit cards to pay for the deposits, had no way to cover the remaining balance. But I'd also included something else in that envelope: a cashier's check for the full amount of the wedding costs, with one condition: it could only be accepted if Emma personally requested it from me. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Dad, please call me." I waited 5 minutes, then called her back. "Dad?" Her voice was small, confused. "Where are you?" "I'm at home, sweetheart." "Watching the live stream, like you asked." "Why aren't you here?" "Mom said you decided not to come, but people are saying—" "I don't understand what's happening." I could hear the panic in her voice, and it broke my heart. But this conversation was 5 years in the making. "Emma, I need you to sit down somewhere quiet. Can you do that?" "I'm in the bridal suite. Marcus is handling whatever's happening out there." "Good. Emma, I want you to know that I love you more than anything in this world. You're my daughter, and nothing will ever change that." "Then why aren't you here?" "Because you told me not to come." In an email. What? "No, I didn't. Mom said you were upset about the budget and decided not to come. She said you thought the wedding was too expensive. And there it was, the lie that had started it all. Emma, check your email. Check the message you sent me 3 weeks ago." I heard typing, then a sharp intake of breath. "I didn't send this." "I know, but it's from my email address." "Your mother has had your email password since college. You told me that yourself, remember? When she helped you apply for internships?" The silence stretched between us. I could hear muffled commotion from the reception area in the background. "Dad, I don't understand." "Why would she?" "Because your mother has been trying to erase me from your life since the divorce, and she succeeded until today." "What do you mean, until today?" I explained about the financial investigation, about Claire's debt, about her plan to have me co-sign for a wedding she'd convinced Emma I wanted nothing to do with. "She's been playing us against each other, sweetheart." "Making you think I didn't care about your wedding while simultaneously planning to stick me with the bill?" Emma was crying now. "Oh God, Dad! I'm so sorry. I believed." "You believed what you were told by someone you trusted." "That's not your fault." But it's my wedding day and you're not here. And now everyone's talking about money and I just want— What do you want, Emma? I want my dad at my wedding. Then ask me. What? Ask me to come to your wedding. There was a pause, then Emma's voice, clear and strong. Dad, will you please come to my wedding? I'll be right there. I was back at Riverside Country Club within 20 minutes. The scene in the parking lot was chaotic. Catering staff loading equipment back into trucks, guests standing around in small groups looking confused, and Claire in her mother-of-the-bride dress arguing loudly with Jerry near the front entrance. I walked past them all and straight into the bridal suite, where Emma was waiting. She flew into my arms the moment she saw me, and for a moment she was 5 years old again, needing her daddy to fix everything. I'm so sorry, she whispered against my shoulder. You have nothing to apologize for. Yes, I do. I should have talked to you directly instead of believing. How could I have been so stupid? You weren't stupid. You were manipulated by an expert. I pulled back and looked at my daughter. Her makeup was smudged from crying, but she was still the most beautiful bride I'd ever seen. Now, do you want to have a wedding reception? She nodded, wiping her eyes. Then let's go save your party. What happened next was the kind of power play I'd perfected in corporate boardrooms, but this time it was personal. I walked into the main reception area, where the remaining guests were milling around uncertainly. The catering staff had stopped serving, the DJ had packed up his equipment, and the wedding cake sat untouched on its table. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, my voice carrying across the room. There seems to have been some confusion about the financial arrangements for today's celebration. Claire spun around, her face flushed with anger and embarrassment. David, what are you doing? I'm fixing the problem you created. I turned back to the guests. I want everyone to know that this wedding reception will continue as planned. The confusion has been resolved. Jerry appeared beside me, looking relieved. Mr. Morrison has settled the account in full, he announced. Staff will resume service immediately. The transformation was immediate. Waiters began circulating with champagne again, the DJ started setting up his equipment, and the photographer came back in from the parking lot. But Claire wasn't finished. How dare you? She hissed, approaching me with fury in her eyes. This is my daughter's wedding. Our daughter's wedding, I corrected. And you tried to destroy it with your lies. I protected her from you. You abandoned us. I divorced you, Claire, not Emma, but you've spent 5 years trying to make her believe otherwise. The guests closest to us had gone quiet, sensing the confrontation. You want to do this here? Claire's voice was rising. In front of everyone? You started this in front of everyone when you impersonated Emma in that email. Emma appeared beside me, still in her wedding dress, but now with Marcus by her side. Mom, stop! Emma's voice was steady but firm. Just stop. Emma, honey, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. Dad showed me the email. The one you sent from my account telling him not to come. Claire's face went pale. I can explain. No. You can't. Emma took a step closer to her mother. You lied to me about Dad not wanting to contribute to the wedding. You lied about him not caring. And then you planned to make him pay for it anyway. I was trying to protect you. From what? From having a relationship with my father? From having both my parents at my wedding? The room was completely silent now. Even the catering staff had stopped what they were doing. You made me choose sides in a war I didn't even know was happening, Emma continued, and the worst part is I believed you. I actually believed that my dad, who never missed a school play, who taught me to drive, who walked me around the block every night when I was colicky as a baby, didn't care enough to come to my wedding. Claire's composure finally cracked. He left us, Emma. He chose his career over his family. He chose not to be married to you anymore, Emma shot back. That doesn't mean he stopped being my father. The confrontation might have continued, but Marcus stepped forward. I think, he said quietly, that Emma and I would like to have our first dance now, as husband and wife. It was the perfect intervention. Emma smiled at her new husband with obvious gratitude, then looked at me. Dad, will you dance with me after Marcus? I would be honored. As the music started and Emma and Marcus took the floor, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was my brother Mike. Hell of a thing, he said quietly. Yeah. You think it's over? I watched Claire gather her purse and head for the exit, her shoulders rigid with defeat. It's over. The rest of the reception was everything a wedding should be. Joyful, emotional, and full of love. I gave a toast about second chances and the importance of family. Emma and I had our dance, and she whispered, "Thank you," in my ear as we swayed to the music. Later, as the evening was winding down, Emma and Marcus came to find me. Dad, we want you to know something, Emma said. We're postponing our honeymoon for a few weeks. Why? Because I want to spend some time with you. I want to hear your side of everything that happened with the divorce. I want to understand what I missed. Marcus nodded. We both want that. Emma's told me how close you two used to be. We can be again, I said, if you want that. I do want that. More than anything. As I drove home that night, I thought about revenge and justice, about truth and consequences. Claire had spent 5 years trying to write me out of Emma's story. Tonight, Emma had started writing me back in. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemy. Sometimes it's about saving what they tried to take from you. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Emma. Dad, want to have breakfast? I'm making pancakes. Like you used to. I texted back, I'll be right there. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt like a father again.